Hi guys, it's Gabby, and today we're going to be learning how to sew a pillow. So I have a subscription and there's a class that they teach you how to make pillows. I'm going to use that class and I'm going to make my own pattern and I'll show you guys how to do it. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is make the pattern for these pillows. So first I'm just gonna make a square. It's gonna be 15¼ by 15¼ I'm just using a regular mechanical pencil. What's recommended for pattern making is a 4H pencil, but this paper is not pattern making paper, so I'm going to use a regular pencil. $15¼ by 15¼ I'm using these lines here to line it up at the edge of the paper. And I'm going to finish this box. Okay, and once I've done that, I am going to be making a stitch line at 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Putting it on the line, and I'm lining up that 5/8 to that line, that cutting line. Okay, and then so I don't get confused, I'm gonna do little lines as if it was a stitch. Okay, and you want to stop about 2½ inches in here, and then 2¼ inches here. Next, I'm going to cut this out on the cutting line, which is the solid line, and I'll show you that now. I'm going to cut it off here so it's easy. Okay, now that I've cut it out, I'm going to label this the stitching line and this the cutting line, just for my reference. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to get my fabric, and I have that right here. And I got this from Joann. It was 2 yards. My table is not big enough to spread it out, so what I'm gonna do is just show you guys where I'm gonna be cutting it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to take my fabric, fold it in half, and you don't need a lot of fabric for this. You kind of just you only need about half a yard to make this. It's not a lot, but I have 2 yards of this fabric. So what I'm gonna do is just cut this out. So to do that, all I have to do is put some pins in, which I'm gonna grab. So these are the pins I have. They're just from this box, this sewing kit that I have from Walmart, which I can also link down below. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pin this paper down. And it's completely up to you, but you can iron the fabric before you do this. I'm gonna do it after. Just make sure that when you do fold your fabric, it's right side to right side, so you're cutting on the wrong side. Just so you don't get confused. At least for me, I'd rather do it like this, start off like this, so I don't go into the next step in the wrong side. So now that I have all these pins in, I'm going to go ahead and cut out my fabric. So I'm grabbing my fabric cutting scissors. I'm cutting it out. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'm gonna take the pins out. And now, because I see wrinkles, I'm just going to go ahead and iron that out. Okay, so now that I'm back, I've ironed my fabric. I'm going to take my pattern and repin it inside the stitching line. I'm gonna put the pins in there. I'm gonna take Taylor's chalk. I have a white one right here. And I'm just gonna go where the stitch line is. And I'm gonna mark it right there so that I don't stitch past that. I took the thread from here. And I took it from here and then I put it in under here, put it around here, and now it's in the bobbin. And I put it through the hole in there, clicked it in place, put it to the right. So now I'm holding it, and as I'm holding it, I step on the pedal and oh, I forgot to turn it on. Okay, make sure that you turn on your sewing machine and then just go. And then once it's already been a little bit, you don't have to wait as long as I just did, but you can just cut this off. And keep going. And my machine automatically stops when it's full. Cut it off, get back to the left, take it out of here. And now I'm going to go ahead and my first step is just to bring it right through here, because I'm not winding the bobbin now. I'm just gonna set it up with the needle. And I'm gonna bring it down this way. Okay, so it tells me there's a 2 right here. I'm gonna bring it down to the 3. It tells me to go around here. And then over here there's a number 4. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in. There's this little metal thing. It's like a hook. You put it right through the hook. Make sure that it's not coming out when you bring it out. And then number 5 tells me I have to put it down here in the needle. Okay, so if you can see the number 5 right there, and that's good. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it through here, bring this down, and put it through right here, and that's it. My machine automatically puts it through the thread, so all I have to do is bring it out right here, this little loop, okay. And once I have it through the loop, I just have to go under the presser foot and to the back. So that bobbin that we winded, I'm gonna just put that in here. And then I just put this back in there. Next, we're going to take the pins out, and I'm just gonna start doing the fabric. It's gonna be 5/8 of seam allowance, and I'm gonna do a straight stitch, which is just a straight line. Okay, so I've marked my corners where I'm gonna be turning, right there, on all 4s. So, and I'm starting at the mark that I made for the opening. Okay, so I'm gonna just start. So I'm doing a few stitches forward and a few stitches backwards. And then I'm just gonna start sewing up until the mark that I made on the corner. I'm gonna pick up the presser foot and turn my fabric on that 90 degrees. And then put it down. Oh, actually, not there yet. Oh, a few stitches. put it down. And I'm just watching that my fabric doesn't turn away from that line. And I'm turning the corner one last time. And this is, I have marked where I'm gonna stop so that I have an opening for my pillow. So I'm gonna get to that point. And then I'm gonna back stitch. On the side of my sewing machine, there's this knob here. I'm gonna turn it so that my needle is all the way up. And it's marked on your knob, so whenever that mark is all the way on top, then your needle is all the way up. And then I'm gonna bring this up. I'm taking this out, and my sewing machine has a little thread cutter on the side, so I'm just gonna put it through there and just cut it off. If not, if your machine doesn't, then you can just cut it off with scissors. Okay, so now that we have the pillowcase sewed, we have the opening on the edge, just turn it inside out. And push the corners out. Now that we have our pillowcase done, we're going to take our pillow insert and we're going to fold it like this. And we're just going to put it into the opening of this pillowcase. And now I'm going to go back to the sewing machine you can either hand sew this together or you can use the sewing machine. I'm going to use the sewing machine. First thing I'm going to do is fold these in and pin them. Now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew this right along. Okay, now I'm back at the sewing machine. Okay, so this is it. This is the end of, this is how it looks like at the end. I cut off the pieces of the thread that were sticking out already, but if you're gonna do this, that last stitching, it's a lot harder on a sewing machine, so if you can, you should use just hand sew it. Just use a whipping stitch and it'll come out a lot better. But that was it. This is what it looks like. Okay, so that's the end of this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I hope you liked making a pillow with me. And come next week to learn something new.